everyone, and welcome to On the Sofa with Sisu, with me, Ola GJ.
And me, Louisa.
And on this beautiful episode, we talk about ourselves. What better episode to listen to than this one, eh? We are basically moving on from last week's conversation around storytelling. We are telling our stories.
Telling our own stories.
We are telling our stories.
Listen up.
Listen, everyone.
It's juicy.
It is juicy. Enjoy. Hello. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
I always feel like 2 seconds in, I've always had a laugh. I don't understand. I laugh straight away.
Do you know what it is? I find funny. Obviously, we ask each other how we are, and we're like, we just travelled here together and had a little convo on the way. But you know, for the purposes of the C Society,
For our C Society and for the for those undecided. Anywho, we've got an icebreaker to start us off with before we jump into the normal episode.
super.
My perfect day would start with blank and end with blank.
Blankety blank.
Blankety blank, 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 blank.
No, that's actually a show.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, my perfect day would start with, well, to be honest, like I like starting my day the same way every day. So I guess my day actually always starts off perfect, but then it's like the rest of the day that fucks it up. So morning, I like to have either a matcha latte or just a coffee with a little shot of hazelnut in it. And I make sure that I wake up and get up like an hour earlier than the rest of my household so that I have that hour's peace and quiet. And I like to just sit on we've got a big chair in the kitchen, and I like to just sit on the chair, have my hot drink, whatever that may be, and I stare out the window and I just be blank.
Blankety blank.
Blankety blank, blankety blank. And that is really it. That is the perfect start to my morning.
And the end?
Oh, right, yeah. And the end of the day. My perfect end, just being at home with the family, having a nice meal together. We always make sure that we have dinner together at the dining table. And is that not your perfect end to your day, James?
Producer James is in the fucking back there laughing his head off.
He's literally vomiting in his mouth. He's like, oh, God, that is so cheesy. Fuck off. But that really is it. And then, like, you know, I'd like to have my shower, and if I can make an early night, God, I'm so boring. If I can make an early night and get into bed by like 10 p.m, that's my perfect night. That never actually happens. So perfect end to the night doesn't normally happen. Dinner part does, but not the early night.
So your perfect start is your matcha and all your coffee and your hour to yourself to be blank. And your end is dinner, early night, 10.
Dinner with the family, nice chat about our day, and early bed.
Love that.
Yeah, simple.
Simple girl.
Yeah.
Simple girl.
Yeah.
Can't wait to dive into more and finding out more about this simple girl. Oh, God.
And yours? What's your perfect start and end?
My perfect start is with a green tea. I love myself a little green tea. Mint matcha green tea is perfect. I also feel like I like to start my day with some music.
Oh, yeah.
I love some jams in the morning, just, you know, to shake my tail feather.
To get your energy up.
Get the energy up. And then my perfect end to the day, I've got one that's PC and one that's not PC. So I'll say the PC one. My perfect end is definitely like a hug and a kiss from Shawnee.
Oh, okay. We all know what the non-PC one is then.
And I also really like reading some sort of positive quote or affirmation at the end of the day.
That's nice.
Yeah, I feel like that just always fills me up with a nice way to go into my sleep. It means I have a nice peaceful sleep.
Yeah.
And some lovely dreams.
That's really nice. I like that. Very nice.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Sean will listen to this and be like, he doesn't like hugging or kissing at night.
You like Rihanna?
Anyway, let's get into it. So let's start off with our little breathing and sound before we go any further. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Take a deep breath, everyone.
Lovely.
She's like, stop.
I think 3's enough. 3's good.
Okay.
The magic number.
So tell us, how was your week? What'd you get up to this week?
Yeah, it's been a blast this week. It's been a blast. I'm actually trying to think before this weekend what I've actually done and what's happened. It's just been a complete and utter whirlwind. But really, my whole brain is focused on the fact that we didn't get to go to Scotland. I can't. It's at the forefront of my head. It was unplanned, but the rest of the weekend's been super nice.
You just really not get explain that to everyone. Our C Society didn't know we were going to Scotland.
We were supposed. So, Olajide and his partner Sean actually gifted myself and my partner Ricky flights to Scotland for Christmas, which was lovely. Thank you. And then, so we were supposed to go this weekend. We super excited.
Yeah.
You know, bags packed.
Got ourselves to the airport.
The shuttle bus.
Got ourselves to the airport. Drank a couple of nice glasses of Prosecco and a shot of tequila.
Yeah, in Smithfield, which is severely overpriced
And
for
disgusting.
what it is. Okay.
Sorry, the same messy.
And then anyway, yeah, so it was delayed. Gate got called, went to the gate. After about 20 minutes of standing at the gate, they were like, sorry.
No. They sent us a text message.
Oh, yeah, they didn't even announce it. They literally sent a bloody email.
An email, yeah, saying your flight's been cancelled.
So it was actually one guy came up to us, didn't he? And he was like, have you got this email?
Yeah.
Just got this from EasyJet. And I literally thought he was joking because nobody had...
You said to him...
I went, you're pulling our legs. You're absolutely joking.
You said to him, is this a TikTok? Is this a TikTok?
Is this a prank? I was like, is this a prank? He was like, no, I wish I was a TikToker. He was like, this is an email from EasyJet. I was like, no, you're having us on.
And then I look at my phone and, yeah, the email's there. And I literally think I stomped to the front and I was like... Sorry, excuse me, is the flight actually cancelled? He went, yeah, it is. We're just about to announce it. And I was like, well, do you not think maybe you should have announced it before you sent us a text message?
Yeah, it was just not on.
EasyJet.
And they didn't even give us a reason. There was absolutely no reason to it. They just said, flight's been cancelled. Can you make your way over to blah, blah, blah? And then we basically got ushered out of the airport round the back routes as if we'd done something wrong. I was absolutely furious at the time.
The highlight of leaving the airport was when we walked down the stairs, the woman goes, you right there? Cancelled flight. Yeah, this way, please.
Yeah, that is literally her job. Show them some sympathy and the door.
Yes, that was a nice end to our week, not being able to go to Scotland. But we definitely have seized every moment together.
We have. Then. We had a nice boozy one on Friday evening, and then we had a nice pub lunch, didn't we, on Saturday in Tring.
In Tring, yeah.
Yeah, I've not been to Tring for years. That was quite nice.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah. And then little card game at yours, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, Double.
That was really fun.
Yeah, if you haven't got the game, get it. It's really good. It's like Snap, but like...
For adults.
Ish, yeah.
It's a good test of, like, you know, observation and speed.
Yeah, speed, observation, and attention to detail.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I won.
5 times. Out of 10. I don't know how often you're playing this, but...
That was literally
this is slightly abnormal.
It's the second time I'd played it. I just love it.
I don't know.
I'm so good at it. I can't believe it. I found something that I'm literally, truly good at.
Double.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
It's good fun. Definitely get it for the fam.
So my week was, thanks for asking.
I never if you need a cue, I'll ask.
So my week, I think we've had a really good CC week actually again. Like really, really cool meetings. We went to the Maragami launch.
Oh Yes.
And that was a really cool, nice to be invited to the Friends and Family launch of the Marugami opening in Charing Cross. That was amazing.
How have I forgotten the whole
Oh,
CC week? I don't know. She got consumed by Scotland and EasyJet.
Blankety blank.
Marugami, that was so nice.
That was really nice. We had some great chats with them about upcoming work that we're hopefully going to be doing with them
Yeah.
soon. And then we got invited to the Lucky Saint pub launch on the Wednesday, which was amazing. Loved it. Nice evening. Good vibes.
Yeah, it's Great Portland Street in Fitzrovia. Very nice little venue. I can't remember what it was called before that, but it was a famous pub. The one with all the
Devonshire Arms.
flowers. Yeah. Do you
Devonshire
remember?
Arms.
In the summer, you can't miss it. It was just like covered in flowers.
And now it's called the Lucky Saint. And yeah, it's a lovely pub. It's really nice inside. And they've got a little podcast studio called The Confessional, which is really sweet, really cute. And you can hire the upstairs space for events. And it's got meeting space. So it's lovely. We had a lovely evening there on Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday. Yeah.
So
that was cool.
we had a really good week, I think. Really, really good week.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, should we move on to Word on the Street?
Word on the street.
Word on the Street. Word on the Street.
What's the word on the street?
Word on the Street. Word on the Street. What have we got?
What's the word on the street?
What have you got?
So I wanted to highlight. I'm going to actually get it up on my phone. So I've actually not forgotten the lady's name. Space scientist, best known for presenting BBC One's The Sky at Night and CBB Stargazing, is to be honoured with a Barbie doll. Dr. Maggie Aderin Pocock has been named as a Barbie role model for her work promoting science careers to girls. And don't really know if you can see it on my phone, but that's it.
Wow.
I just think I love this bit of news because I do think that Barbie have really expanded their selection of dolls, which is amazing. They've become much more diverse. But I think that, it was nice. I think it's really important for little girls to see themselves being able to do something like be a scientist or a mathematician or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, some roles that have in the past always been sort of linked to male gender. Yeah. Yeah, so that was really nice. And she said that I want to inspire the next generation of scientists and especially girls and let them know that STEM, which means science, technology, engineering and maths, is for them. These subjects are just too important to be left to the guys because through science you can literally change the world.
So true.
Yeah, so I thought that was
That's
a nice
magical.
little bit of celebratory news there.
That's nice. I love it when people are doing good things.
Yeah.
It just makes me feel so happy. My news is not so good.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. I just saw this and I just thought, what the F? I'll read it to you as it comes live. She's chosen to live a lie, is the headline. Race faker posing on social justice activist who claimed she was Latin, South Asian and Arab descent is unmasked by her own mother, who confirms the liar is as white as snow.
You couldn't make it up.
I was like, what? How?
Why?
Why?
That's what I didn't get. Why?
So, the chief inclusion officer at a Philadelphia-based Quaker group has been outed by her. I love the fact that she's an inclusion officer.
Yeah, that's her job.
Her
Yeah,
job.
equality and inclusion officer. Yeah.
She was outed by her mother, who said that she has no idea why her daughter claims to be Latin, South Asian, and Arab descent when she is as white as the driven snow. Raquel's colleagues at the American Field Service Committee are now asking whether she is in fact an infiltrator acting undermining their work. I definitely feel conned, I feel deceived, said Oscar, a human resources professional who participated in the search committee to fill Miss Swati's position. Anyway, it goes on, but the accused 39-year-old who converted to Islam in high school has since come out as gay or a culture vulture and noted the shades of bronzer she applies to her face have become darker and darker over time. She is in fact white, but she has pretended to be of ethnic background descent.
Yeah.
But I don't know why.
So her background though is, let's get it right, is British Italian,
Yeah.
and
So let me just see
German.
Yeah, I think it was British, Italian, German. Let me see if I can find a bit. I'm trying to scan through this quite a long article. Yeah, British, Italian, German.
What I don't really understand is, number one, why she felt the need to lie about her heritage.
Her name's Rachel.
Yeah, I know. Bless her. Why she felt the need to lie about her heritage in the first place? Whether, was it because that she wanted to? She converted to Muslim and then felt the need to be more affiliated with Muslim religion by trying to adopt heritages that
didn't belong to her.
Yeah, I don't get it. But also, the thing that actually got me as well was like, why is her mum outing her?
Because it's bullshit. Her mum's like, this is shit, mate. Stop it. Come back home and be white.
Yeah, but why couldn't she just reprimand her behind closed doors?
She clearly has
as well.
Maybe she's tried. Maybe Rachel's come home and my mum's gone, Rachel, love, you need to tone down with the bronzer because you look...
Yeah. If that was Maisie, I'd just be like, what the fuck are you playing at? You know?
But this woman's taking it way... Yeah, she's taking it way too far. And obviously, like, what the message that I'm trying to get to people is that you can be whatever you want to be, yeah, right? But you have to remember that sometimes that what she's doing when she's pretending to be someone else's, it's another culture.
It's cultural appropriation.
It's appropriation.
Yeah.
She's not gone through any of the trauma that comes along with it. And she is, she's pretending, and it's not fair and it's not nice, and it takes the piss out of other people that are actually really going through stuff.
Yeah, and if you want to be an ally or an activist for a certain group of people, you don't have to pretend to be that one of those people from that group. Just be yourself and fight for what you believe in, but don't lie.
I think that...
What?
I think that she's probably a bit lost.
Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, that was my bit of news, which I just thought was pretty...
It's quite a wild story, isn't it?
I literally saw the headline and I was like, I have to read this because this just sounds so, like, far-fetched. But actually, when I read it, I was like, there's actually been quite a few stories like this that have popped up over the last couple of years. But this one was funny because she was an inclusion lead.
I know. She must be in a big hole at the moment. Like, I don't want to go out.
She goes in and teaches people about how to be inclusive, knowing fully well that she's lying.
Yeah. How bizarre.
Anyway, that was the word on the street, y'all. So I hope you enjoyed that. But interesting to just talk about some of the stuff that's going on out there in the world because it is wild. Right, should we get on to this week's E&I topic of the week? E&I topic of the week.
Yeah, what is the E&I topic of the week?
So last week we talked a lot about the importance of storytelling.
We did.
And about how storytelling can obviously help you to uncover more about people and understand people's experiences, understand people's, I guess, intersectionality. We always go back to intersectionality, we always talk about that. So I think because of that, this week I thought it would be really fun, so fun, to talk about our stories and share a bit more about our story as individuals, how we got to where we are now doing this work.
Yeah.
And share our experiences, I guess, from birth.
From birth? Wow. Well, we've only got about 40 minutes, so...
So let's dive in deeper into our personal backgrounds and what leads us to this work and hope for the future of equality, equity and inclusion through telling stories. So let's start with you, Louisa. Who are you?
Who am I?
Who is Louisa Davis?
Well, Louisa is somewhat different now from what she was once upon a time, as most of us are. My background, I grew up on a council estate. It was very community driven, I suppose. But when I was younger, it wasn't very inclusive. For instance, there was a lot of... Actually, let me just give you a bit of story to where I come from. So the estate that I am from is called South Oxley. It was purpose built to ship people out of the East End into this estate, because I actually don't know what the reason was. The East End was overflowing with people or whatever. And it was built in the 1950s, so just after the war. Is that right? So yeah, shipped a load of people over from the East End into South Oxley, and it was basically just a white council estate, no other ethnicities at all. So there was loads of like groups of people who were racist, and there was a lot of like graffiti on the walls, like NF, National Front, all of that. So my primary school I went to, Warrendale, obviously everyone was like white, and it wasn't until I think I was in like year 2 or year 3, a Somalian family moved into the community. One of the kids was in my year, and one of the kids was in year above me, I think, or 2 years above me. Names were Sugary and Omar, and I remember them so well because I was like, oh, different people. And actually, I think this is where I first sort of experienced like racism, because a lot of the other kids like just were not very nice to them. They didn't have, you know, the easiest journey, I think, in the initial months, maybe even years, for when they join a school. So that was my young childhood. Got older. How
many siblings do you have, Mum?
I'm just talking about my childhood first.
Oh.
So then got to year 6. Obviously, then you go to secondary school. So I had been at a dance school, Gypsy Booth. Love Gypsy Booth. Since the age of 6. So my mum, bless her heart, she literally just scrimped and scraped to put me through this dance school. And bless her. I love my mum. And she did that because she was like, she wanted me to have more opportunity than what she had, and what, you know, the other kids from my area were having. My mum's not actually from the estate. She came from Wheat Hampstead, so she's from little countryside. My granddad's a vicar, so she wasn't really used to this like estate life. But anyway, whatever with that. So she put me through dance school, got to year 6, and then there was pretty shitty secondary schools around the area, and then a couple of nice ones which were in Bushy. And she didn't want me to go to certain schools, also didn't want to go to them. They just didn't have a very good reputation. They didn't have a high rate of kids coming out of there and then going on to better things in life. So I went for Bushy Meads, didn't get it, but you sometimes have the opportunity to appeal. So my mum appealed. She was like, it was probably one of the worst things that I've ever had to go through. She was like, there was a panel of like really just posh people, really, you know, who've like done super well. And then there's my mum, who's like just had a kid at 17. She was like, you know, from the estate. She's lost her posh accent by then. And then trying to get her kid, like selling her kid basically to get into this school. And anyway, she did it, and I did get in the end. I was the only child from my area to get into that school. And that was off of the grounds of going to the dance school. So basically they were like, well, she's got something to give us, so we'll give her a place, which is amazing. So it's my mum. To answer your question, I've got 2 brothers. One's 26, Harley. One's Theo, he's 16 in a month. Then I've got a half sister who's older than me, and my dad has got 2 other kids as well, which I don't really see, Lily and Alfie. So yeah, there's quite a few of us scattered around.
That's a clan, yeah.
It is, yeah. So that's my background. I went through school. So I got all new friends, all lived in Bushy, all had completely different lives to me, but really like broadened my perspective and I guess my like ambition, I suppose. and I just, my friends have like very heavily influenced my life, like, and my goals and my aspirations, I suppose. Don't get me wrong, we all got into a lot of shit when we was at school. We were naughty sometimes, but I think because they came from somewhere where they were surrounded by people who had more than I was surrounded by, it kind of made me want to do better. And it gave me like an idea of a different kind of life that I could have. So so I left school. I did my A-levels. I did art and graphics. I've always been very like creative. Always been into that sort of stuff. And then from school, worked in hospitality for a little stint. I did waitressing, bar work, and did the finance accounts for a couple bars. And that was only for about a year. And then I got into the fashion industry and was in the fashion industry for, I don't know, like 15 years or something. I did loads of different jobs, product development. I did trend forecasting, designing. What else have I done? Photography, retouching. Yeah, all sorts of stuff in the fashion industry. Hoard it around.
Bloody hell.
I wanted to try different things because I didn't really know what it was that I wanted to do. So I did loads of different things, and then I landed with photography and retouching. That was kind of where I stayed for quite some time, like 8 years. And through that whole experience, I think like I met so many different people along the way. Got treated really badly in a couple of like rag trade suppliers that I worked for. Really not nice experiences. I was quite young as well when that went on, and I've always been a rebel, as in like I've always stood my ground and been able to
fight
my corner, yeah. But I think in the workplace at that age, I must have been like 22 or something like that, I didn't really find my feet with it until like a bit later on in my life. So like this guy just used to ask me to do the most ridiculous things. Like I remember once he was like, you need to come. I was working in production there, and he was like, you need to come with me. I'm going to, oh God, what was it called? West One or something like that. This cheap shop that we used to supply for. He's like, you need to come here to their office. We're going to meet the CEO, and he's going to choose some stuff, and you need to wear the clothes. I was like, what? He was like, you need to be the fit model. Normally, you would hire people in to do that. So I was like, all right, whatever. Went along with him, and when I say this guy was just a fucking perv, he was just disgusting. And he was like sat there behind his desk like, and then my boss at the time, he was like, right, Louisa, go and put that on, And I was changing behind this tiny little like screen and I was so uncomfortable. And then every time I came out, the guy was like, turn around. And I was like, what? He's like, turn around. So I'm literally like turning around, standing there like, this is not right. And I felt so degraded and awful. I ended up actually leaving that place about a week later. I did this super EastEnders scene. He used to pay me cash in hand, right? And he gave me the money. Well, he didn't give me the money. So he said something to me that was really rude, and I just had enough. And I literally stood up and I was like, I quit! I was like, that's it! I've had enough, I quit! And I did, and we was like on the second floor, and I ran down the stairs, and the guy, this is how fucking horrible he was, right? He came out and he went, nobody gives a shit, and he threw my money at me down the stairs.
Stop it.
Yeah. And I was so like, oh my God, I can't. I just walked out. I left the money there. But one of the other girls actually came out after. She called me and she was like, don't go. I've got your money for you. She picked it all up for me and brought it out. She was like, I'm really sorry that happened. I was like, I was fuming. Anyway, I've digressed. So like lots of different weird experiences that I had through the fashion industry, like especially working with rag trade, and then moving into like luxury fashion. That was a bit more different. Obviously, it's more corporate, but with that comes like, I don't know. I was always looked at differently because I didn't go to university, so I was always treated somewhat differently, whether it was like positive or negative. Because sometimes I was used as a bit of a case study. Like, oh, well, look at Louisa. She's made it here and she didn't go to university. Like, I don't know if that's a compliment or not. Like, I can't work it out. And then sometimes people just wouldn't put me on things because they didn't think that I had the skill set. But I worked so hard and like, I was super attention to detail. And half the time, the people that were doing some of these projects, and I was like looking over them and then being like, what? Why? That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. Then it would go back to that person, but I wasn't actually involved, so I shouldn't have like given them the indications.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It should have been me that was leading it.
Yeah. You were helping other people to lead when actually you should have just been given the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I've heard that before.
So it was really like then at my last place, I worked for Burberry. It was there that I kind of found my feet in terms of like what I really like to do. I got the opportunity to work a lot with like CSR, corporate social responsibilities, and employee engagement, and like work on different projects to do with wellbeing and E&I. And I just really enjoyed it. That's what I really liked. I knew that people were my passion. So having like all these little different experiences within the fashion industry, and then like, you know, experiencing somewhat of a toxic work culture in terms of like there's this sort of message within the fashion industry that if you work yourself into the ground, then you get to wear a badge of honour, and it was just not on. So I started to kind of advocating for different things and different initiatives, and that's kind of what led me to understand that this is actually where I want to be.
Yeah. What a journey.
Yeah.
You forgot you had a daughter.
Oh, right, yeah, but I had...
There's nowhere she came in that story.
I just feel like I've probably forgotten loads of stuff that I probably should tell you. But yeah, I've got a daughter. She's 7. Yeah. And a partner.
Yeah, quite
and a partner
deals,
who I've been with for 5 years.
Yeah, amazing. And I think also like you having a child in the workplace actually made like that was such a huge part of your advocating for wanting to do better, especially for being at the time you were a single mum.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. It was so hard, like, because I used to get up at I don't even know what time it is. So like 5:30. I don't drive, so I used to chuck Maisie in the buggy at like 6 a.m, walk to the station, which is about a 15-minute walk, get to Bushy, drop her off at her nursery for like 7:30, get into work, finish work, come back, do the same journey back home. And after like a couple of years, I just was like, this is fucking ridiculous. This is actually ridiculous. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
For what as well? For like pittance wage and not seeing my daughter.
Yeah.
I hated that. I got so depressed in life. And I was like, I'm actually not seeing her, spending any time with her.
Yeah. And there was no like compromise at that time of like trying to find a work pattern that worked better for you.
Oh no. Like before the pandemic, like that company was like, you have to be here every day. And you've got to be in the office, otherwise the work will not get done.
Yeah.
And unfortunately enough in that respect, they were able to see that actually people can be productive and work remotely when working in that industry. And if not, be more productive than being in the office, because it's like fucking pandemonium when you're in showroom in the office. So
just to obviously there's so much more that we can dive into, and we probably will dive into more as we go along on the poddy, but just for our society, what was the one thing you'd say you learned from I guess up until now? What's the big thing that you've learned about yourself?
About myself?
About yourself.
Oh, bloody hell. I mean, I don't know if you'd notice, but I hate talking about myself.
Really? You just spoke about yourself for about a good 20 minutes.
I know, but I feel like my voice is shaking. I'm fidgeting again. Hope James doesn't have a go at me for fidgeting. It's very uncomfortable. What I don't know. I don't know. Like, honestly, there's so many things. Like, probably just one thing I've learned about myself is that I just need to trust in myself and listen to my inner voice always.
Oh, the whispers.
Yeah, always.
That is
it. Because there's been so many moments, I think, throughout my career as well, where I've been like, this isn't right, this isn't right, this isn't right. And I've just like ignored it. And not always, but, you know, there are sometimes I've kicked up a stink, but not enough times.
Listen to the whispers, because the whispers become louder and louder, and then they become huge earthquakes.
Yes, they do.
Fabulous. Well, thank you for sharing, even if it was slightly uncomfortable for you. It was nice to, I mean, I knew all of it before, but it was nice to hear it all again and for our society to hear it as well. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. Right. I know. What about you?
Oh, God.
Let's hear about you.
Oh, dear. I need to make this one short and sweet.
I feel like we should have just done an episode each.
Yeah. That's a bit long, though. People want to listen to a whole episode each of our stories. Jesus.
Go on, delve into it.
So I grew up in London, so I'm a North London boy. Was born and bred in North London. Went to school in North London, so I grew up in Harlesden. And I am one of four. Shit. I'm one of four, so I have got an older brother who lives in America. He's a pilot. And I've got two younger brothers, one called Dammy, and he works in IT. He is 30-something or the other, 32, 33. He's 33, he works in IT, he's also a DJ, he travels the world, he lives a very, very bougie lifestyle. He is Burna Boy's DJ, Grammy Award winner Burna Boy. And yeah, he lives... I actually sometimes feel slightly jealous of his life. It is wild, the things he gets up to. And then I've got a youngest brother who is Olamide, and he is also a DJ, but also works in supply chain. So I come from a big family. We're Nigerians. You know, my mum and my dad are Nigerian. And my parents are also born again Christians. So there's so many layers to our family, I think, in terms of just understanding culture. But I grew up in North London, in Harlesden. For a long time we lived in Harlesden. It was quite a nice little life. I went to school in a predominantly black area, black and Asian, I'd say. There's many white people in that time in Harlesden. But it was quite rough at the time. There was quite a lot of violence. I lived in a council estate, similar to you. We're council estate people, aren't we? And there was a lot of violence, and I think if I remember correctly, that someone got shot in our block of flats, and my mum was like, "We need to go. We need to go. We need to pack our shit. We need to leave." And I just don't remember how long it was when that happened, but I remember like it was a quick transformation, and mum was like, "We're moving, going to stay at your auntie's." My auntie was like my mum as well, and she lived in Hampstead. She's like, "You're going to stay at your auntie's for the Christmas vacation." So we went and stayed there. And after Christmas, we'd moved to Watford. And it was like, we didn't even get a chance to transition or to like...
Yeah, what a culture shock.
It was literally like, after Christmas, you're in Watford. You're in Watford. And now you're in Watford and there's no black people.
Yeah, it must have felt like that bloody suburbs, completely and utterly that countryside.
I just remember, I think I cried quite a lot. I think I was like distraught because I had a really good close friend called Michaela, and me and Michaela were just like, we grew up together, we were really close. Mum used to tell me, you and Michaela look like twins, you can't be separated. Oh. I don't even know what happened to Michaela. Michaela, if you're listening, reach out. St. Mary's massive. But yeah, so we moved to Watford, and like within a blink of an eye, we were in a completely different culture. We were in this area where we didn't feel comfortable. I went to school in a predominantly white area. There was not many other people of colour around us. And and then I went to school in Watford, Holyrood. Then went to St Michael's. And I think when I was in school, I think I realised I was different. When I went to secondary school, I realised it was even more different because I didn't feel comfortable in my skin. I've always been big person, so I've always been big boned, and I stood out like a sore thumb. And also, I've always been quite, some may call it effeminate, some may call it, sassy. I've always been fabulous.
Yeah, I was going to say fabulous, darling.
But I didn't know what that even really meant.
Yeah.
And so I was really struggling with my blackness, and also struggling with, my identity, not gender identity, my sexuality. And so that struggle, I think, really made me slightly angry sometimes. I got bullied a lot at school because of my size. I used to get called Frank Bruno all the time. I used to get pushed and shoved on the bus. I used to get chewing gum thrown at me. Used to literally, it was fucking horrendous at some points in school. And I think it's the name calling that just really digs at you for a long time. And then I left school after I did my GCSEs, and I was like, I needed a fresh start. I just need to go and try and re-find who I am, because I wasn't anybody at high school. I just felt like I had a small little group of friends, but I didn't know who I was. So I went to college and kind of reinvented myself as junior. And that's when I met you. And then I had reinvented myself as this person who was confident, because I wasn't confident at school. I think there was an element of me trying to be a bit confident in year 11, and I started to think I was starting to fall onto becoming a bit of a bully and a bit mean. So I'm glad that didn't follow me through. So then I came out of my shell a bit more at college, and I became a bit more sassy. Anyway,
developing that ever since.
Yeah, that's just been a stepping stones now, just to how fabulous and sassy I can become. And then I think I would study hospitality because I always wanted to open my own restaurant, and that was always my dream.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to Paris and study Le Cordon Bleu, and I wanted to be a chef. I wanted to open my own fabulous restaurant. And unfortunately, when you come from a Nigerian family, there's just this, especially Nigerians that live in the UK, who think that there's only a certain few things that you can do that are going to make you successful, and that is accountancy, law, or medicine. And if you don't step into those three categories, then you're not going to be successful. And my mum and dad were like, if you don't go to university, you can't be successful. There was just so many rules and the goal was always to be successful, and that was driven into me from a young age. So when I did hospitality at college, my mum and dad weren't exactly happy with it, but they did it anyway. And then when I finished college, I wanted to go traveling because one of our friends, Sam, was going travelling, and I was like, I want to go travelling. My mum and dad were like, do you fuck? Do you fuck? You're going to university, you twat. You can't go anywhere unless you go to university. And I did not want to go to university because I just wasn't interested in it. And also, I had to pay for it myself. It wasn't like they were going, you go to university, here's the money for it.
Yeah.
I was having to pay for it myself. So I was like, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then so I was like, I'm not going to do law or medicine. I'm not that kind of academic person. I'm creative. I'm, fabulous. I'm sassy. I want to be doing something fun. So the compromise was that I went to university to study events management, which, again, they weren't best pleased with. And I decided that I needed to go to university as far away from home as possible. I did not have to see my family. So I went to Leeds Met. Which I knew they could never pop in and say hello. That was literally my aim, which is really sad. I think I felt like I was the odd one out in my family growing up because my two younger brothers, I would say, quote unquote, very black. I think I lost my blackness from when I moved away from Harlesden. I lost that kind of connection to my culture and my blackness, and I was surrounded by a lot of white people. And then I went to college and I was surrounded by a gaggle of white girls. So I think at one point or another I lost my identity as to who I was as a black man. And when I went to university, I think it just got worse because I was just
more white girls.
I just got surrounded by more white girls, and I just completely lost my blackness. It was really weird. It's weird thinking about it because I knew that it was happening because I could see the black kids at uni, and I wouldn't try and connect with them. I would always feel super comfortable being around white girls or white people, but I felt super uncomfortable with black people, and it was really bizarre. And I now know why it was. It's because I wasn't comfortable with my sexuality. I wasn't comfortable with my skin. I wasn't happy with my body. I was literally like, I was running away from all the things that were making me sad, and I was throwing them into everything else that would make me happy, which was going out, drinking. So uni was amazing. Had the best time. Met the best people. But I was angry. If someone said that I was gay, oh my God, are you gay? And I would literally lose my shit. I would get into fights, physical fights. And people would help stick up for me and be like, he's not gay! He's not gay! He's been with girls! He's been with girls!
Guilty.
And I was literally like, yeah, I've been with girls. Leave me alone. And I did that through the whole of uni. It was, and actually when I think about it, I always say this to people, like, I never regret anything, but I do wish that I did uni as me, because I think it would have been such an incredible experience. And Leeds has got such an amazing LGBT community. And I think I would have just really I dipped my toes. I dipped my toes when I was in Leeds, but yeah. And then so uni finished, and I worked in hospitality while I was at uni. I've always worked in hospitality since I was 15.
Yeah.
I worked at TGI Fridays, and then I've worked in so many different restaurants, pubs, hotels, in different roles, back of house, front of house. I've always stayed hospitality because that's what that's what I wanted to do. That's what made me happy. It's where I felt comfortable. It was the only place I didn't have to tell people who I was or what I was. Like, didn't have to go in and be like, "Hi, I'm on a G day. I'm gay," or I'm straight, or whatever. There was no questioning my sexuality or questioning anything about me.
You just be you.
I'd just be me, and there was no people taking the piss of my size or whatever. Like, it was just like I went into work, and actually guests that came in and I served them were always super nice to me and just really I don't know, open. So that was my place. And when I left uni, I was working in a restaurant, and it was going to be closed down. I'm the manager at the time, who was great mentor. He said, "Go, if you really want to do this, take it seriously, you need to go and get some education around how to manage a P&L, how to do marketing for a restaurant, all the bits and bobs that it takes to run a restaurant." He said to me at the time, there's a company called The Restaurant Group who do a great MIT program, which would really give you the basics for foundations to where you want to go. So I did that, went and worked with the TRG Group at Frankie and Benny's in Lakeside, and hated it. I literally hated it. I was living in a hotel. I was eating shit food. I was miserable. And then I got moved to Watford, which made me slightly happier. But it just wasn't for me. The restaurant brand was not for me. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't get to see my friends. Everyone was going out. It was mid-20s.
Unless we popped in for a pre-drink.
Yeah. It was mid-20s. Everyone was going out. Everyone was finding themselves. Everyone was getting into relationships. And I was working Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights.
Yeah.
I just didn't have a life. And I literally looked in the mirror one day and I was like, you are spotty as hell. You are really, really overweight. And you need to sort yourself out. And so I left there, and I again was still really unhappy with myself. I just wasn't comfortable in my skin. Comfortable in my skin, that's a song. And then I moved, and I think it was one Sunday night. I had a shit shift, and someone came in and was like, "Have you ever thought about working in recruitment?" And I was like, "Have I fuck? I don't want to work in recruitment. I'm not a salesman. I hate sales." And that night I called him because he gave me a business card, and within a week I'd moved into recruitment.
Yeah.
And I was in recruitment for over 10 years, just because I started off hating it, as you do, because I started on a cold desk, and then I realised that the opportunity to meet so many different types of people from different walks of life, different cultures, different neurodiversions, it was amazing. I literally loved it. And I got to see some incredible events and work with some amazing clients. And some of those people that I worked with when I was working in recruitment are people that I'm now super close with. And I think that's helped me build my network.
Yeah.
And then I think it was when I was 23, 24 that I actually finally decided to come out.
Yeah.
Which was as dramatic as obviously I am. Christmas Eve, told my parents I was gay. Mum had a panic attack. Dad was amazing, and I didn't even realise my brother was sitting in the corner the whole time. He told me that a couple of weeks ago, and he's like,
"Oh my God!"
He was like, "I was there. I was in the room," and I was like, "Were you? Where were you?" He was like, I was in the corner supporting you. And I was like, oh, I didn't realise you were...
silence?
Yeah. He was like, you told me to come down with you. So I did. I came downstairs and told mum and dad with you. And I was like, oh, I didn't even remember that.
Bless.
But that was like the biggest like achievement for me, to be able to tell my parents that I was gay.
Yeah.
Actually, I was bi at the time. Because that was the easiest. You dip your toe and then eventually you come out properly. But yeah, that was amazing. And I guess since then, I have been really, really fortunate enough to have parents that have supported my journey of exploration of myself. There's been some, serious moments where we've all had to learn. I think that's the thing as well, where like, I always expected my parents to come out and my parents just to be like, oh, amazing, you're gay, or amazing, or you're not, you're gay, we don't want to be. Like, my thing was either they're going to be amazing or they're going to kick me out.
Yeah.
There was no like me thinking in my head there's going to be a time where they're going to need to adjust to this new way of having a son who's gay, being born again Christians. That whole thing for them was huge. So there was a lot of learning for both of us, and a lot of me having to be patient with them, vice versa.
Yeah.
And since then they've been great. I have been in relationships, and my dad he's got better. The first serious relationship, my dad was like, I'm not having any of it. Not for me. I'll still be your dad, but I'm not meeting him. And
maybe just knew he wasn't the right one.
But also he wasn't the right one.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Thank fuck for that, Dad. You didn't meet him.
Hope you're listening.
Jesus. Messy. But yeah, I got engaged to this said person that my dad didn't meet. I planned a wedding, and then he left. He decided to walk out the door. Walk out the door! Turn around, no, it's not happening anymore.
A week after he bought his wedding shoes.
Yeah, it was the week of him buying his wedding shoes.
Week off.
Yeah, I was the one that proposed as well, which was fucking not something I ever thought I would do, because I always thought that I would be the person that'd be proposed to. But yeah, so that, I mean, there's so many things that I could talk about that have shaped my life, but that definitely was one of the things that shaped me as a person, as someone who's watched a lot of their friends go through a lot of heartache.
Yeah.
I always said, I'm never going to allow any man to fucking make me cry.
Yeah.
Ever. And he did.
He did.
He broke me. But I was able to rebuild myself from having the best circle of people. And my dad was one of those people that actually was like there to like, he actually offered to move into my house.
Yeah.
Do you want me to come and stay over? I was like, no. But yeah, I then started to build, and then realised that there were so many things that I needed to change in my life, and that was one of them was my job. And I needed to make sure that I got what I deserved, because I was in a job where I was working there for a long time, and this was at Spoons, and I was heading up recruitment for Spoons, and I wasn't getting the credit for what I was doing. It's a huge business, and I was doing it all on my own at one point. And yeah, so I was like, after that breakup, I was like, you know what, I deserve better and everything in life.
Yeah, you had a whole switch up, didn't you?
Switched it all up. For the first time living on my own.
Yeah.
There's loads of firsts. And then we had that conversation in the pub, and we were like, let's fucking start a business.
Let's start a business.
Let's start a business and start getting what we deserve.
Yeah.
And let's start helping other people to get through some shit.
Get what they deserve.
So yeah, that's kind of my story in a nutshell. There's so much more I could talk about, but I'm very conscious of, this is a podcast, not a Netflix series. At least not yet anyway. So yeah, that's probably where I'll leave it. But like, I'm now in a loving relationship with good old Shawnee boy, who just allows me to be me, even if I am a little bit much. And even if I do come home from the hairdressers with a toupee on my head.
Hello, hair. This is new-ism.
It's a new-ism. I just shake my head now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's amazing. And yeah, I'm always learning and growing from the people that I surround myself with. And I think from living my true authentic self means I actually hear people more.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, because before, I think I wasn't living my true authentic self. So I wasn't really listening to what everyone else was saying or to other people's problems. I wasn't really taking it all in. And now, because I'm able to, I don't know, it's weird to you see what I'm trying to say? Like it's like a third eye has been opened now, because I feel like I'm really happy with where I am, who I am, what I'm doing, that I'm now really able to pay more attention to things that are around me, whereas before I think I lived this real tunnel vision. So yeah.
Yeah. Still working on your patience though, aren't you?
Oh, fuck off. Still working on my patience. I mean, this afternoon I picked Louisa up and she's like, I feel like you've been really snappy at the moment. I was like, do you know what? I just feel like everyone's getting at me.
Everyone likes to point out my flaws.
Everyone likes to point out my flaws. I was like, do you know what? Sometimes I just like to just be me.
Yeah. And being me means you have to be snapped at once in a while, or more regularly sometimes.
We're all
Vice versa.
We're all imperfectly imperfect. That's what we all need to remember. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it's been one hell of a journey.
It
Hope
has.
that you all enjoyed that.
Yeah, I hope you took something from it. Like, I think it's important to always share stories, and we'll always continue to share stories with our societies, the Sisu Society.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to ask us anything that you feel like we haven't touched on, then please do ask away.
Send them out.
We're open books.
On the WhatsApp, on the WhatsApp, or if you want to message us on the TikTok.
WhatsApp.
Or if you want to message us on the TikTok.
Olajide is bringing out his own dictionary soon, so he keeps making up words.
Constantly. But yeah, we'll always continue to storytell and to share our experiences with you all, because that's who we are. We're real. Anyway, let's move on to the questions part. I've actually only got one big question that I want us to talk about, and if we've got a bit of time, we'll see if there's any more. But there's one that I definitely want to discuss. Hold on. It got messaged into the WhatsApp. Here it is. So it says, you ready?
Ready.
Hello, Louisa and Olajide, literally the best people in the world. Well done with your podcast. I absolutely love it. Oh, Thank you. My question for you today is, since you talked about your favourite fiction books and Harry Potter came up, that made me think of the Caesar in 2020 when Adele Hanel walked out the ceremony when Polanski received many prizes for his movie, while the guy is known for sexually harassing women. As for J.K. Rowling, she's an extremely talented writer who created the brilliant world of Harry Potter that we all love, but she's heavily protesting against LGBTQIA+ rights and having some really degrading discourse about the community, saying that, I guess my question is it possible to separate the art from the artist? And if we do separate them, meaning we don't boycott them or cancel them, does that make us bad allies? Thank you. Great question.
Yes, that is a great question. That's very nice.
Can we separate the art from the artist?
I honestly think that just depends on the individual, to be honest.
As in the person that's trying to separate them?
Yeah. For me personally, I can do that. A person's views and opinions about a particular group is subject to that person and is personal to that person, and the work that they've produced is for the masses and open to interpretation. So I think being able to I can separate in this instance, J.K. Rowling, she's in that box. Harry Potter books, they're in this box. Harry Potter books have helped a whole world of children and adults alike. And, well, she's just, I don't want to say anything.
She's a vessel to get that message out. She's not she's do you see what I mean?
No, absolutely.
Oh, right.
I've just got one particular word in my head that is really bad, and I don't want to say it because it's really...
Say it.
No, I can't. It's the one word that everyone hates.
Oh. See you next Tuesday. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. What do I think? I think I'm sort of the same as you, really. I kind of feel like I know we brought up a couple of things on this episode, on this podcast. Sorry, not this episode. On so far about a couple of people. So Beyonce, Burna Boy, J.K. Rowling. We've brought up a couple of people that have made mistakes. Will I boycott them and not listen to their music? No. Will I stop watching Harry Potter films? Probably not. However, I will hold them accountable and hope that they are able to come back from this and go, this is why I've done this. I'm sorry for doing this. J.K. Rowling, obviously, she's never going to do that because she's point blank said. But actually, other people, there's always a hope that they're going to come back and rectify the situation.
Yeah.
But I can honestly separate. And also, like, for instance, I know I've been asked this a bit already about Burna Boy and like the homophobic slurs, and I'm like, the thing is with Burna Boy, in Nigeria, that is the culture.
Yeah.
The culture is Nigerians. The law in Nigeria is, there's no there's no same-sex marriage allowed. Yeah. There's no same-sex relationships allowed. The penalty is death.
Yeah.
So, for him and his culture, what he knows, homophobic slurs is okay because it's against the law. So I kind of have to take each situation as it comes individually. And I also think that Burna Boy has done an incredible amount of work for African culture and for Nigerian culture, especially bringing the music to the masses. Like, I would growing up, I would never thought that Nigerian music or Nigerian artists would be a Grammy Award winner.
Yeah.
Like, it just wasn't something that we grew up with.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Having that now and that accessibility to the music and letting other people understand the music and learn
that representation,
from it. And that representation for
other young Nigerian people. Just to be able to see that somebody has made it as far as he's made it.
And that's what he's always trying to do. He's always trying to educate people around Africa and Nigeria.
Yeah.
And so I kind of go, you know what? No one's perfect.
Yeah.
So, I can sometimes separate the artist from the art because sometimes the art that they're producing is making such a huge impact that sometimes you go, okay.
It's not about letting it slide or brushing it under the carpet. No. It's not about that. It is, it's about balancing it out.
Balance, yeah. But great question. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
As we always say, it's great to have the questions from our C Society. Continue to send them in and we will continue to try and get through them and come back to you. There's a couple more questions that we'll save for next week.
Yeah.
But let's get on to Mannies of the Week.
Mannies of the Week. Oh, look at yes. I'm picking up your little nail tapping.
You are. Oh my God, I can't wait to get my nails done. What is your manifestation for this week?
I am manifesting tidiness. Today I have been out buying little boxes to put my shit into and organise and basically like hinching the house. I don't actually watch or know anything about Mrs. Hinch. I just hear the girls say it a lot. So I'm adopting that phrase. I'm hinching.
I have no idea what it means.
I think she's a cleaner.
She is. I don't know. She's not cleaner, but she brought out like a. I don't know. It's by the by.
It's by the by. I'm hinching. So yeah, my money this week is organisation. Yeah, I'm organising life.
Okay.
I'm starting afresh tomorrow. Yes.
Fabulous.
That's my money.
Okay. My manifestation for this week is going to be working on my snappiness. I do actually know that I do snap sometimes, but I'm aware of it. But I also don't feel like I need to be called out on it all the time. Anyway, but yeah, I need to work on my. Do you know what it is? I need to work on listening to what the person that's talking or I think is snapping at me, what they're actually saying, so that I don't snap back. Because sometimes it's not even. It's like I haven't actually listened to them properly, what they're actually saying and what the message is. I'm just immediately just snapping. And so sometimes it's just about listening and taking it in and just taking a second, taking a beat.
Yeah, likewise. Cool.
So that's my manifestation, not
Love
being
it.
snappy.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Here for it.
Here for it.
Snap, snap, snap.
Snap, snap, snap. Right, and I think that's it. We're there.
We're there.
Yet again, another episode.
Thank you.
Of the Poddy done. Well, everyone, see you later. Stay brave, stay curious.
And stay honest.
Peace out.